Okay, my friends, here it is. The Monday morning Thrive Live at the at the Viking South plot. So we are here with Jerry today, guys, and he's going to be coming in here shortly, and we're going to have a little bit of an interview, which is going to be great because Jerry has been a member of the tribe since pretty much the very beginning. And we came down yesterday to pick up our beef and to make the mushroom video, which if you guys follow my Instagram account, then you already seen that we have been inoculating the logs with the mushrooms, which is fantastic. And so, yes, you can expect that video to be coming soon. So you got to let me know if anything, if we're making do with what we got. So the lighting isn't perfect, the sound probably isn't perfect, but we're just going to make it happen. Okay. So let me know where you're at, where you're viewing from, what's going on where you're at, and let us see. Spawn Viking Grow. What's up, my friend? Good morning, Grubster. Yes, good morning. Very windy, but still sunny day in Iowa. Yes, sunny here as well. It's wonderful. It's actually unseasonably very warm. Guys, am I blowing this microphone out? You got to let me know. And Sam Potzik, good morning, my friend. Pop Herm, are you still on that bike trip? Are you still on that bike ride? Pop Herm is going from Pennsylvania to Florida. Is that still happening, or did you get marooned somewhere? I know how that goes. I set out to ride my bicycle from Madrid in Spain all the way through Africa, all the way around to South Africa and back up north, and I ended up getting marooned in a small fishing village on the coast of Morocco for months on end and didn't go any further after that. So plans change. It can happen, but let us know where you're at, So Pop Herm says, I feel like it was Friday yesterday. The days are flying. I know. They really are. The days fly by, guys. Val Thatcher, good to see you, my friend. Yes. Sam says, sounds good. Looks good. Okay, great. Pam from South Africa. Hello, my friend. Ms. KC, good morning from Decatur, Atlanta Metro. Yes, I bet it's still plenty warm there. Let's see here. Aaron Johnson says, good morning, beautiful friends. Excited for today's live. Cleaning out my chicken coop today in Demosville, Kentucky. Very wet. Nice. Kentucky. Really good growing conditions in Kentucky, guys. So we are going to do some meditation here, just a brief meditation. And then Jerry's going to come on and we're going to kind of interview Jerry and we're going to see what he has to say about things. Jerry has done the master cleanse. Jerry has done the kettlebell training, so many, all the practices, the ice bathing, the sauna therapy. He started doing all of it. So you can pick his brain a little bit about those things. And I'm just going to ask him some questions and just get his take on things. So I'm looking forward to it. Good morning, Susanna. Good morning, Taylor Reindl from Colorado. Yes, Dylan Davis, Illinois. Says, from Illinois here, love this and the Garden Channel. Both have helped my life. Definitely, that's what it's all about, my friend. Brendan Edwards, yes. Vera Witch Lady from a very great Belgium. Yes, hello. Hello, Donald Hughes. Lucia Bora. Hello, Nate and the Tribe. In the Metro Rotterdam, Netherlands. Very full and loud people. Very, very full and loud people. But I now can watch back later and still feel the power of you all. Lots of love from me. Thank you very much, my friend. And thank you for letting your presence be known on all the videos that you're watching. That's amazing. So thank you for being a part of everything. Okay, Kundalini King. I've not seen that name here before. Says, good morning from Missouri, Mark Twain National Forest. Nice. Silver Sage. Not sure I've seen that name here either, but maybe I've seen that one before. So thanks for speaking up, guys. We're about to do the meditation. Teats Treats. I know I've seen, of course. So says, I've also benefited greatly from both your channels, Nate. Thank you. Definitely, my friend. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So, yes, Kundalini King says, nice living room. Yes, and believe it or not, Jerry, who we're about to see, built this thing by hand. He built this, okay? These are wooden pegs, old school style, and straw bales in the walls. So it's you can pick his brain a little bit about that if you would like here in just a moment. So let us get into the meditative state of mind. So wherever you're at and whatever you're doing, straighten the spine. That's important because that's how energy flows. That's how very subtle energy meridians in the body need the spine to be straight. That's why it doesn't matter if you're sitting in a chair, or if you're standing, or if you're sitting in the lotus position, or if you're laying down if you have to. Just make sure that the spine is straight, okay? And let's together, let us take 3 deep conscious breaths, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Again, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Last one, fill the lungs, feel the power. Hold. Let it go. Now immediately bring the attention to the sensation of air as it flows past your nostrils and into the body and back out of the body. Clear your mind entirely. There's no need to think of anything. There's no need to plan for the future or to remember the past right now. Let it all go. It's very easy. Just let it go. Focus only on the sensation of air as it flows into the body and back out of the body. Breathing in, breathing out. To those of you that have been practicing, you will notice already the mind is in the meditative state. Calm, relaxed, focused, contented, joyful, peaceful. Even those feelings, though, we do not become attached to those either. We just observe, witness what is happening. As you breathe in, feel the lungs as they expand. As you breathe out, feel the lungs as they contract. If you find that the mind is noisy right now, that's all right. When you see that the mind has wandered to something else, just let it go and bring the attention back to the sensation of air as it flows into the body and out of the body. That's it. That's all that's required. Many of you will notice that the mind is very agitated. It wants to jump around to different thoughts. The slightest little thing will distract it. You hear a dog barking outside and the mind immediately grabs hold of the stimulus and it creates a storyline around it. Why is the neighbor not quieting that dog? I wish they would shut up. I'm trying to meditate. They're breaking my peace. That's what the ego mind says. The ego mind constantly takes a neutral stimuli and fabricates a storyline around it, and then announces it to yourself. Witness the workings of the ego mind. For some of you, the sound of my voice may be apparently distracting you. You would think, I wish he would just be quiet and let me meditate, bringing me out of the meditation. This is why I can't focus. This is all the workings of the ego mind. The moment that you've become drawn into the storyline, you must release. Over and over again, you must release. Come back to the breathing. The more you practice doing this, the more you are retraining the nervous system. And the less and less the happenings of the world will have a hold over you. You must remain vigilant. Watch the mind. To those of you that have been practicing for some time, you will notice the power of the mind increases exponentially. For many of you now, it will not matter if there's a dog barking, the sound of my voice, cars honking their horn outside, children talking. None of that matters. Because the power of the mind is beyond all. Anytime you see yourself getting drawn in to the storyline, you say, the ego mind almost got me, but not this time. And release. Together, let us take 3 deep conscious breaths, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Again, fill the lungs. Hold. Let it go. Last one. Deeply as you can. Hold. Let it go. As you practice more and more, you will notice that your power to override the storyline happening in the mind becomes stronger and stronger. Now, is the purpose of the meditation to, Taida says, sneaks in. Greetings, everybody. So you're the one that always was coming to meditation late, opening the door. Oh, sorry. It's okay. At least you're here. Thank you. And so you will find that the power of your mind to release the storyline increases dramatically. And the more that you practice this, the more that you see almost everything, and I would say everything, is a storyline. You will see that all the things you think you feel and that have power over you, and someone did this at work, and oh no, they did this, and that's why I feel this way, and I'm just feeling so run down, blah, blah, blah. You will see it is all a storyline stemming from the same place. Totally unnecessary. The ego mind is a machine of taking what is neutral, that is the reality that is always perfectly neutral. And it infuses a sense of meaning and purpose and storyline, essentially, into what is otherwise neutral. And it's always in relation to me, the ego mind, of course. And it says, well, how does this relate to me? Or how does it not relate to me? Which is another way of relating to me. It's all about me and the ego mind life. But the more that you practice, the more you see the storyline can be dropped. Just like this. Watch. Here's the storyline. Boom. Drop. Just like that. It's that easy when you practice. And this spills over into every aspect of your life. Your relationships with people become deeper and more meaningful, and your sense of purpose in life is just expanding constantly, and the type of love that you can give to people is deeper and deeper. You're more present with people. Yes, so all of your relationships will flourish more and more the more present you become. So, okay, and with that in mind, I will invite Jerry over here to have a conversation with us. And Jerry is one of you guys that has been a member of the tribe for some time now, and he has done all the practices. So, want to say hello to everybody, Jerry?
Hi, everybody. So excited to be the first interviewer from the tribe, or interviewee, I guess I should say. Yeah,
that's right. Yes.
Welcome to Cloverdale.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So if you guys have any questions for Jerry, okay, you can just put them in the chat. But otherwise, I'm just going to say some things. I'm going to ask him some things that I feel like would be very relevant to you guys, because Jerry has done all the practices. Okay. I mean, he's really implemented the practices in his life. And so we can pick his brain a little bit. Yeah. But first, I just want to ask him, so did you build this place?
I did. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you say a little bit about the framing?
Well, I decided that my great-grandfather was a timber framer, and I thought, well, I'm kind of a traditional type of person, so I wanted to experience that. So I decided, well, how do you do that? I looked at barns. I looked at books. I found a bunch of trees on the farm that were not saleable for timber, and decided to get a guy in here with a mill and cut the things out, figured out how to do the joints, and put it up. Yeah.
Nice. Just figured it out. I mean, it's really cool. And there's straw bales in the walls. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, I was always looking for more organic materials to use for insulation, because your insulation is your house, basically. So I like the availability of straw. Here was, $1.50 from the field back then, so you couldn't go wrong with it.
Yeah.
Of course, the plaster and the stucco and stuff is a bit more work, but it's very enduring. Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place and rock solid. We stayed the night here, and the upper floor feels like it's a basement. I mean, the floor, everything feels so solid, and it's so quiet in here.
There's probably I salvaged most of the wood and materials in the house, so there's probably about 2 houses worth of stuff in here.
Okay.
But the price is okay. But I think most things are built on the minimum, like 2x4s at this spacing. That's a minimum that you got to have, right? So I would say, well, okay, I got some poplar 2x6s. I'll use those. A little bit more insulation value and stuff like that. So I wasn't afraid, since I was doing the work, to spend a little more on the material.
Oh, absolutely. Especially because it's your place. It's not like you're a contractor that's just got to pump them out and get on to the next one. You can really take the time to make it rock solid.
Right. And when I was younger, when I was doing this work, my late 30s, I thought, well, this is forever. And then I started thinking later, in my 50s, gosh, nobody's going to want to buy this thing. You know what I mean? So you becoming more in love with it that way, because it's a unique thing. And that our lives have been experienced in it, the kids and whatnot. So, yeah.
Can you tell us just a little bit about so what was the time frame? I mean, because you didn't start building this place until how old were you?
Probably 39, about 39, 40. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys still got time. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we didn't have our first child till I was 40. Okay. And the second one when we were 42. So we did some world traveling before that, and had some other experiences. We lived out in upper state New York for a while, and then we decided, well, we're going to have a family. Let's move to the farm and homestead and try to be as self-sufficient as possible, which is a lot of people's dreams.
Oh, absolutely. And so can you just tell them just a little bit about the bicycle trip?
Well, before we were living in upper state New York, and we decided to move back to Indiana, where Katie's family's from, and mine as well. And we decided, well, before we do that, let's go around the globe for 2 years on bicycles and see what we can see before we settle down, right? Because I didn't want to have that traveling itch anymore, and boy, that sure did it.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah, I could say from experience.
Right. A lot of people said, we met a lot of Germans who like to travel quite a bit. They have more holidays than we do, longer holidays. And they would say, well, I'd like to travel for a week or two, but I'm ready to go back home.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, from the United States, once you make the trip, you might as well keep going because going back and forth is very expensive. And if you're traveling on the cheap like we did,
yeah,
you might as well just keep going. We got the backpack, the tent, stay in campgrounds, hostels, met people through different organizations. There's one called Servas, where people invite you into their home as kind of a goodwill effort between countries.
Right there.
And
the camera's right there. So if you kind of look there, look at that.
Okay. So and we also did some woofing, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where you work willing workers on organic farms is what it is. Mm. So we knew we were going to do all this, and so we were gathering information. And we ended up in Australia, where we met to a group, and where they said, well, we can't have you here, but there's a group of people up on the mountain called Mora Mora, and everybody up there's built their own home. And I'm like, oh, that's heaven for me. So let's go check that out. So we stayed with different people up there, and that was very interesting. It was like a 30-year-old event where people had been there for about 20, 30 years, and you could kind of see how it changed, and people got older, and they gave up some of this, and there's new people coming in. And, anytime you want to build a utopian environment, you got your hands full.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, I can relate to a lot of that. And so we have one, and you probably know, because Jerry's a member, active member of this tribe and the gardening tribe. So he probably knows, but Pa Perm is currently riding his bicycle from New York down to Florida. Oh. And so let's see, currently in my tent, hiding from the rain. It ended, so I need to start moving soon. Do I do it? I need to eventually. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, nice. It's all about the weather.
Yeah,
in that regard.
Oh, absolutely. That's why once we got into Morocco and stuff, going through Spain, Andalusia, the south of Spain and stuff, real nice and easy and gentle. There's villages everywhere. But then you get into Morocco and you start riding, and it's all day before you see another watering hole, another mm-hmm. village. It's just insane. It got really insane. But the bicycle is a wonderful way.
Yeah, I think context is always important when you travel like that. Like, we got down to Kenya, and we were going to ride our bikes through to South Africa and fly out of there. And we met some Kiwis and some other people, and they said, that's not a good idea. So what we decided to do was to get on one of these tours where they rip the back off of a truck and everybody sits in like seats in there, and you just kind of get trundled along, which was kind of the sweet bitter part of the trip, because we were kind of controlled by the group. And
of course,
and
you felt like a tourist.
Yeah, and I was foolish enough to eat some lettuce at one point. Oh, yeah. I had the worst GI problems ever. I remember we were lined up to go to the Ngorongoro crater, which is like the epitome of wildlife stuff, and all I could see was the bottom of the Jeep floor because I was just doubled over.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
So you got to be super careful. Anytime you give up responsibility for your food and what your health issues, mm-hmm. you got to be super careful. And just one slip like that, and we had been so careful be up to that point.
Okay, I want to switch gears just a little bit. We could go on and on about traveling for sure.
Right.
And it's wonderful. Because the spirit of traveling, once if you've got it and the person has it or had it, there's just so much to relate to there. It's wonderful. But here's a good question. Okay, from Silver Sage says, question, what brought you to the desire to do the master cleanse, and how was that experience? I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, it was a really good experience. My other job is working in an art department, and so I'm exposed to a lot of things. And in the past, I wasn't real careful about thinners and fumes and things like that. And I just felt like I had some kind of load of stuff in my abdomen. So I thought, well, that sounds like a good idea. Let's try that. Plus, I was probably 15, 20 pounds overweight, which you shouldn't use that for diet type thing, but you are going to lose some weight regardless. And I also discovered that I was constantly, always dehydrated because I've never been hydrated before. And through this master cleanse, I actually was hydrated, and I didn't even know what that felt like. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize that point. So he says that he was chronically dehydrated without even realizing it until he felt the experience of being fully hydrated, right?
Oh, right. And there's a lot of energy that was not getting channeled. Like I would think I'd be a cowboy hero being out on the tractor like 8 hours with no water.
Right.
Oh yeah, I can take it. Right. What I was actually doing is just withering away, and injuring myself really.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for joint health and stuff like that, it's super important. And I couldn't really understand that till I went through that.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Carry on. So what brought you? So as far as the master cleanse, because you've done it and you've experienced. So what was your mentality leading up to it, and then what was your experience of the cleanse? You were a little apprehensive the first week.
Oh, I was terrified of it. I like my food, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm a comfort food grabber, so I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to go out on a shaky twig here doing this. So I was kind of nervous of it. So I made my own plan. I decided, well, I'm going to do the master cleanse from morning till noon and then have a nice meal at night. So I did that for a week. And I thought, well, okay, I made it through that. And that was kind of nice because it helped me get organized at work. I was going to hide my jugs by the refrigerator and do my covert operation and where's the nearest restroom and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I thought, okay, I'm ready to go on it. So I did it for quite a while after that. 3 weeks after that,
he did a 3-week master cleanse, his first time.
And I think it's because I kind of grab onto things for comfort, and also I was having comfort and enjoying the energy level that was in there.
Yes, can you elaborate a bit on the energy, the type of energy? What did it feel?
Right around lunchtime, I'd think, well, usually I go get something to eat, sandwich somewhere or whatever, and be ready for a nap after that. No lunch, except another quart of water. And I was like, oh my gosh. So all of a sudden I was like filling that time with productive task or whatever, just because I wanted to keep moving. I just felt like keeping moving. And it seemed like lining up things. I was actually getting more things checked off than the list than I usually do, whereas I'm usually just kind of thinking about it. Mm-hmm. But actually, I had a lot of extra time with no food prep. And the most amazing thing was you walk through the grocery store about 4 or 5 days with your bags of lemons and your maple syrup, and you think, well, I don't need any of this stuff in here. It was amazing. I can survive on this. So if things get really bad, I realize now that I can survive on very little, right? Most of the time you end up kind of preparing for the worst and you over prepare, whereas it doesn't take that much to get through the day, as it turns out.
That's one of the best things that I really like about the Master Cleanse is what it proves to yourself, because I'm all about initiations to yourself. They don't have to be to anyone else, but you prove to yourself, okay, I went 3 weeks without a bite of food. I'm just drinking this liquid mixture, which is next to nothing. There is calories, of course. It's not a fast, it's a cleanse. So there is calories, of course, plenty of calories for the brain and stuff, but yet you're like, okay, so the next time that, you skip a meal or you miss a meal and previous to the Master Cleanse in life, you're like, if you miss a meal, I'm getting shaky, I'm going to faint,
right.
Blood sugar and all that kind of stuff. You realize that that's all in your head, and you realize you can go a long time without. And so it really gives you like a sense of confidence, sense of strength.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how was your mental clarity on the cleanse? Were you foggy the whole time, would you say?
No, I don't think so. No, I think I was, it's been a little while.
Yeah.
But it kind of gets you up on edge a little bit, right? Because you're pumped up, right? And you think, well, maybe I'll double up the maple syrup in one of these, and because I'm really getting kind of hungry feeling or whatever. And I do that, and then that was like too much. I was really surprised. I thought, I'm going to go half maple syrup, half water on this one.
Right.
And it was counterproductive. I was really alarmed at that. Not alarmed, but surprised that it would be that way. So it was interesting for sure.
Definitely, and that goes back to our sort of primal animalistic instincts, to where when you're hungry, all the senses become heightened. When your digestive tract is totally empty, the body's like, hey, we're on the wire's edge right here, razor's edge. We need to find something to eat, and so it heightens your senses, your
Right.
your predatory capabilities, your vision, your hearing, your smell. It just kind of heightens it in a way that feels really good. To be, at least that's my experience, and many, many others, of course.
Right, and the biggest benefit was you reset your whole eating pattern. Like, okay, I'm giving up an M&Ms. I love M&Ms. Gave them up. I've been a little weak lately, but nothing lasts forever. You always need a refresher course. But but for a while there, I was just like, no, I can walk past that. I've walked past that for 3 weeks. I don't have to have it. It's not controlling me.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So it's
Take
really,
back the power.
really strong.
Yes.
And, like soft drinks and pizza, stuff like that I didn't even think about being detrimental. I know it intimately or instinctively, but, there it is. Just grab it and go and keep moving, right? But no, it reset the whole thinking and the whole desire levels and stuff like that. Very interesting.
Yeah. So definitely for you guys considering doing the Master Cleanse, cannot recommend it highly enough. Just do it. I mean, it's the new year is a great time to do it. So you can prepare yourself, because the holidays is tough. And there's no point. You want to be together, eating food and stuff like that, and have a good time and things. But in the new year, it's an ideal time. Sometime in January, do you a 10-day Master Cleanse? Okay. So,
and I have to include I had my checkup right afterwards.
oh yeah, listen to this, guys.
And previous to that, I was having some lipid issues. I don't remember the numbers, but they were higher than they wanted to be. Not like serious check you in type stuff, but higher. And it's like, well, we might come up with something that's going to fix that. And I'm like, oh, I don't want that.
They want to put them on a medicine,
right?
Statin or something.
Yeah, some kind of who knows what. And so I did that Master Cleanse. I walked in there like 15 pounds lighter, and a third of the lipids were in there. And the only thing they said that was an issue was I was low on iron. And and that makes sense, right? There wasn't any iron going in, right? So, and I don't think being low in iron is as problematic as the lipid situation,
right? And so, listen to that, guys. He had high enough lipids where they wanted to medicate him, and then did the Master Cleanse, went in there for blood work, and it was a third of what it was. Okay, So it's because the ability of the body to regulate itself is constantly hampered by the toxic buildup of things, and so you clear that out, and it just feels fantastic. Lipid pro. What was there? Was one more thing. The iron. I wanted to say something about the iron, which is why I've developed a slightly different way, just a reformulation of the ingredients for doing the Master Cleanse. And it's with the addition of the molasses, sky high in iron, tons of iron.
Oh, really?
And this is one reason that people feel so much better.
Balance you out better.
Balances it out.
That would make sense.
Chock full of minerals. Okay, so let's switch gear a little bit. And yes, Miss KC says, I always have a rejuvenation of my fortitude and discipline after a cleanse. Yes, rejuvenation. That's a good way of doing it. Physical cleanse, also a spiritual and mental and emotional cleanse. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, it's like getting reborn kind of thing, where you just kind of come back out of those bad habits and stuff like that. So that's right.
It's a good reset. Taylor Reindl says, people thought I was going to die when I did a 10-day Master Cleanse. Yeah, they do. Because to most people, they're like, so what are you eating? And you're like, nothing, just this.
Yeah, my doctor went a little pale.
Oh, yeah. What? He said, how'd you do this?
Okay.
Drinking his lemonades. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. Sam Potzik says, are you still actively doing cold training? What is your routine? Or do you only practice in the winter? So that and what got you into cold, just explain a little bit about your cold training experience.
Well, I started with the cold showers just because Nate kind of sets it up as a challenge and stuff like that. Well, yeah, I'll try this out. And so I worked my way into it, the 15 seconds for a few days, 20 seconds. I mean, I really creep into stuff. And so that worked out. And then after about a month, I noticed a pretty good improvement. And then coming into winter, I was having problems with what they call Raynaud's disease. It's where your fingers will go white or something like that when you're outside in the cold. And I started feeling like this was actually helping it because the increasing the circulation, it was hot to cold. So then after doing the cold training in the shower, I said, okay, well, I'm going for the sauna and the ice thing. And there was a lot of other people on the internet doing it. And I was, of course, worried about a heart attack and all that kind of thing, as everybody is. Like, oh, my gosh, right? So ended up diving deep and got the sauna tent because there's no way I was getting in that ice tank, cattle tank out in the yard without getting preheated. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a good thing I did because after doing that for a while, I thought, okay, well, that's no big deal. I'll do a little workout in the morning and I'll just jump in that ice tank out there. No, different story.
Yeah.
I thought I made a big mistake. I was going to be found as a frozen piece of meat in my front yard.
Yes, because so Jerry got so he started doing the cold training. Started doing it just with the cold showers, and then he noticed the benefits, the effects, and then he decided to up it. He got a trough, an outdoor trough, and in Indiana it's plenty cold. You can just leave it outside, in the wintertime. But then he got the wood-fired sauna tent. The same one that I had a few seasons ago. Mm-hmm. And can you speak on that a little bit? What is that experience like? What do you notice?
I noticed that, you get that dude fired up. And, at first I had around 180 or something like that. And I thought that was skyrocket hot, right?
That's hot.
Then I'd go out and walk out in the snow in my swimming gear and like, wow, I can stand out here. It's like 5 degrees out. I thought, wow, this is really strange. Then getting into that tank and going back into the tent, you think it's like, you can get cooled off pretty quick in that tank.
Yeah.
And I'd count for the 2 minutes or 120 seconds. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, 2 minutes is enough.
Yeah.
2 minutes is enough.
Right. I'd go full head under and then back up. And because I was afraid to creep into it. I just wanted to just
get it over with.
Yeah, I'm going in. If I make it back, I'll make it back. So then back into the tent, and there's no way I was going to do that again. So, about a week of that, then I said, well, maybe I could do 2 in a row, right? And then I heard Nate say, I take my people for 3 dunks. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Because it just kind of, you're getting more to the bone every time. So eventually, I don't know if I ever made it to 3, but I made it to 2 successfully quite a bit. But then, working in the heat was a whole different animal too, because your lips are getting hot and you're sweating really, really good sweat. And that's not something I'm used to in December. That's more like July in the hay mow. But it felt great. Yeah.
And one of the things he's talking about is that contrast therapy. Remember that there's little muscles that surround the blood vessels, and that they open and close them based upon how much blood the body wants to. The skin is like a radiator; it can cool off the blood or it can warm it up. And so, in our day-to-day lives, those muscles, they don't get used because we don't experience the extremes that our ancestors used to. For thousands of years, they used to experience extreme weather and just adapt to it, but so we've sort of lost that capability because we're about 70 degrees, give or take, all the time, but through the contrast therapy, when you get into that sauna, oh man, it just opens up them blood vessels. Yeah. The heart, right. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, it really, things are moving fast. Then, so those muscles are opening. Then when you get into the cold, bam, they want to slam shut so that it won't cool off the blood, and it redirects the blood to the vital organs. And so that contrast is a great exercise for the whole vascular system.
Right. And if you I found a recipe for the shower. If you're getting intimidated by that part, is I'll go in and I'll get my head, I'll take a nice hot shower, turn on the cold, get my head in there for 10 seconds, then my right armpit for 10 seconds, then over on my left hip, and then turn on my back around, and by that time I'm good. But without that, just to right on the chest or the back or something like that, that's pretty brutal. So for some reason, your armpits can take all kinds of temperature, and I think it also helps your body switch so that it's ready to do more, right? And then I can stand there for 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever it takes, for that morning. So yeah. So I've been consistently doing that for about over a year now, a year and a half or something like that.
Nice. So let's say Bushcraft Baron has got a question. Says, question, Jerry, how do you keep your tank unfrozen? I'll be getting a trough in a few weeks to complement the wood sauna.
Good question. I put salt in there, some cattle salt, and don't do that because that's really hard on your metal tank. If you have those Rubbermaid tanks, it wouldn't bother it. And then I put a heater in there, but the heater never seemed to really want to do it. So I'm following the path. So I haven't got it started yet, but Nate came down and we put together a chest freezer so that I can use that in the wintertime and not have to fight that ice block thing. It's really neat to be out there in the snow and all that kind of stuff and have it right next to the sauna tent. But it's kind of a hassle too because you're kind of swimming in with big 20-pound chunks of ice. It's like polar bear experience. So,
which some of us love,
right?
Which for me, I take the sledgehammer. When I do the classes, that's actually part of it. Like the students come out and stuff, and so I'll take the sledgehammer and go, hold on, guys, bam, 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 and I have to bust a hole into the ice because it's real thick, and so that makes them in their mind. They're like, oh wow, this is for real.
Yeah.
But so I add a lot of Epsom salt to it. 5 pounds of Epsom salt, and that does lower the freezing point, keeps it a bit slushier. And I also have a stock tank heater that I would kick on occasionally, only when it got really cold though, and I would kick it on for like 6 hours in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah, it's all about timing in that regard. Otherwise, you got using a lot of power out there.
But Jerry's got one of those like metal troughs that are thinner. I've got the real wide Rubbermaid plastic trough.
That probably does better because that metal wants to really make it cold.
Oh yeah,
freeze it up,
and to get in there, get them shoulders in there. Mine is big enough 2 people can get in there. Although we don't do that anymore, but you could. There's plenty of room. Yeah.
What I like is to have that tank out there right around the freezing point, like 36, 40 degrees at night. Then do a little workout in the morning. Jump in that because I found that after the workout, if you get in a cold tank, theoretically it's supposed to inhibit muscle growth and stuff like that.
Atrophy.
But I found that it keeps me from my joints from getting problems. With the because it reduces inflammation, stuff like that. Which I'm probably more in the world of having inflammation problems than needing to gain a bunch of muscle. Right. So just keeping myself fluid,
that's the
mid-60s, right? Here's the problems. So I like that a lot. So
yeah, and it's there's a lot of talk about that in the online community about ice bath will blunt hypertrophy and it will stifle your gains from the gym. The only time that anyone needs to even worry about that is if you're like a competitive bodybuilder. Is if you're really have to really have the competitive edge for every little scrap of muscle. Otherwise, it's a wonderful practice. I do it often, not all the time, but it's a wonderful practice. And for the reasons Jerry said, I mean, the inflammation in the joints, it's really good. So don't give it a second thought about, I got to do it after. I can't do it after my training. It's all building the resilience of the body. It's all wonderful.
Right. But and then what I found myself doing after that, and this is still that kind of 30, 40 degrees outside temperature, I would go in and meditate for 10 minutes, just sit outside the bathroom and just let the core thaw out before I'd take a shower and stuff like that. And that is really, really interesting because you can feel your body getting hotter and cooler depending on the breath. And so I started getting more into that. I'm not a very good breath practitioner yet. That's still beyond me a little bit, but
goals.
Yep. But I like that time to thaw out. And from what I understand, thawing out from the tank is better than tank back to sauna than jump in the house. So,
Yes.
so if you're
Yes.
you kind
To
of
naturally
room
warm up.
temperature, yeah,
Yeah.
which is
Much more difficult.
It's really not what you want to do, but
Way more difficult.
yeah, seems like best things in life take a little bit of pain to get there. So
Right. Right. Let's see here. Bushcraft Baron says, and just to follow up, a year ago, I was on 3 blood pressure meds, diet, cold showers, exercise, and 5 or so saunas a week. Wow. I'm now on 0 meds. That's what we like to hear, my friend. Very good.
And that's a lot of saunas a week. I'm not sure, there's some talk about how much sauna you can do in a week,
Well, there is the Soberg protocol, which I'm sure if you're serious about sauna and stuff, then you would know who that is. Susanna Soberg is the doctor that sort of popularized it medically, and she come up with the thing, 11 minutes in the ice bath. Here's the minimum this is the ideal minimum per week, 11 minutes in the ice, a total of 11 minutes in the ice, and 1 hour in the sauna, a total. But
nice.
I
didn't know we had balloons here.
I didn't know we had balloons either. And so that's the ideal for the benefits. Now you can go further, definitely. Of course, we do further than that. But the Soberg principle, and you can research that. Follow her on Instagram, Susanna Soberg. She's been on Huberman Lab podcast. So I also recommend, if you guys are for real about it, get the book, or Susanna Soberg's book, Winter Swimming. I got it last year, and it explains the physiological things that are happening in the body, the brown fat activation, how it taps into the mitochondria, the ATP in the cells, taps into it for energy, and how it elevates your metabolism the rest of the day. I mean, for a long time, it elevates the metabolism. So all kinds of benefits. If you want to know a little more about the science, I recommend getting that book, definitely. Brian, that's a great idea. It says, video idea, a walk around with Jerry showing his processes, house, farm, and cows. Next time.
Yeah.
Next time we'll do that. Yeah.
We got a lot to exhibit. There's
a lot.
We run 2 farms here and about 300 acres all told. So it's quite an enterprise. Plus I work off the farm. But it's been a lifetime goal, to get all this going, and it's my passion.
I wanted to touch still on the. So you mentioned that you work out. So you were. So explain your introduction to kettlebell, or explain your process of the kettlebell, because I think he heard it from the channel. We were talking about it, and then he decided to try it. So explain a little bit the progression of that with the shoulder and stuff like that.
Prior to that, I was pulling a wrench trying to get something out of a baler, and I heard something snap on my right shoulder, and for 2 years I just kind of limped around. I didn't go get therapy, which I probably should have, but I was thinking, well, it'll be all right, it'll be better, and it never did get better. It just kind of got worse, and I couldn't lift my arm up, and so I noticed that the cold showers was helping a bit, right, with that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So then I found a channel on that I liked. It was a woman from Australia.
I
know. And she did a lot of different stuff I like, a lot of stretching and whatnot. And then she also did kettlebell stuff. And I was like, all right, I'll start with her. I want to go easy, because prior to that, I would always just find work in my daily world, and which I found was only stressful, right? Okay, my joints aren't really strong, but I'm going to go out there, I'm going to try to lift hay for 4 hours. Well, that's a bad idea. So, you're just stressing and ruining stuff. So I had a lot of kind of chronic issues with joints and whatnot. So with the kettlebell training, I started with doing 6 push-ups a day. I was really out of shape. I couldn't believe it, just because my life had gotten easier, mechanicized or whatever. And so, I started a program, and then that shoulder started coming. And at first, it really hurt. It hurt all the time, but because I was starting to use it again, and I had to back off all the time. I could do 24 pounds on this arm, but 8 over here at the most. So still trying to balance it out a little bit. It's going to take a while, but a lot of improvements.
Yeah, but there has been a lot of improvements in the shoulder, correct?
Oh yeah, see,
Yes.
look at that.
Yeah, nice.
I couldn't even get it up here before, so that was, and that kind of thing makes you feel really like you're really on the way out. Is when you start losing movement in a like if you can't walk very well or your arm goes down, because my day is a lot of tasks to do here and there, and when it's just painful to do it, you start backing off, and it just kind of cycles in the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. And so that was very important for me to get back on my feet and get things moving.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he touched on a good point. It's like, because he does so many tasks in his day-to-day work, hay and with the cows, the cattle and stuff, and fixing farm equipment and things. So it's like, well, I don't need to do these other exercises because I'm getting plenty of work in my day-to-day life. But it's different. It's just different because those movements that we're doing in our work are of a certain range of motion. And so we'll go our years without utilizing these whole other ranges of motion, and things like the kettlebell, things like the Turkish get up is ideal for healing the shoulders and all the little muscles around, because you're putting them in positions where you never do these positions in your day-to-day life. And so that your physique, your muscles can become lopsided. You can become hunched over, you can become tight, and then you can pull things out of whack.
Right, and I think the biggest benefit from the kettlebells is you're usually doing one arm or the other in an asymmetrical movement, which is what you're always doing all day. Like when you're running a drill, you're pushing like all get out on one arm, or you're carrying a bucket around and you're like this. And the kettlebell prepares you for that because you're always, this side is working just as hard as the side with the weight in it. Mm-hmm. And I found that to be very beneficial. And plus, I've always had a bad back sciatic thing going on, chronic, and that's kind of gone away a bit, and which I'm really surprised.
And so it's not any one thing. As you guys hear him talking about this stuff, it's the combination of, number one, it's the mindset. Number one, above all else, it's the mindset he's adopted of, okay, I'm not just going to go slowly into old age. I'm going to retrain myself and my mind. I'm going to start doing these new things. In my mid 60s, I'm going to start ice bathing. Which sounds totally insane to most people.
Yeah, me too.
It says I'm going to start ice bathing because I refuse to just kind of fall apart as I get old. I'm going to, in fact, have a nice, strong, graceful age, into aging.
Yeah, and my two sons, they're early 20s and stuff like that, and I really impressed them with the ice bathing thing. They're like, okay, we're going to have to do that too. I said, if you want,
yeah,
if you're not going to be weak,
if you're man enough. Yeah,
and it's always a challenge to keep a little bit ahead of the boys, a little, So and they're very fit. So
they're very fit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of a nice upmanship.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, because it's different. It's not just how much weight can you lift or something. When you start ice training, that is a whole different world. It's the power of the mind. How much control do you have? Okay, yeah, you got big muscles, but what about the muscle of the mind, the willpower? Can you override the panic reaction of the body and just sit there with it? Very few people can.
Yeah, and breath-wise, I've found that through the meditation, I tend to have a lot going on, so I'll be gonna go open a gate or something like that, and I'll think of 3 or 4 more things I should have been doing that are on fire somewhere that I haven't got to, and I just blow it out. I just blow it away, and I consciously do that. I think, okay, all those problems, I'm just gonna blow them right out with a big exhale. And I don't know if anybody's ever seen me out there exhaling a bunch, walking around, thinking, wow, that guy's out of breath. But I found that really helps. Really helps just get the mind back. Okay, just open the gate and don't worry about that stuff till you get to it. Because otherwise it can just all bound up on you and you get kind of, oh, what do I do next? Well, you only can do the next thing next. You can't get it all done, and you can't. Worrying about it doesn't make anything happen either, as it turns out.
As it turns out, I tried for years. Worrying doesn't get it done.
Worry things ahead or back or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so you see, he starts with the mentality. The mindset is number one. And then he does the practices. Not talking about it endlessly, reading endless books about it. Just do it. Get the cold tub, get the sauna happening. If you can get the wood-fired sauna, that's ideal. Or you can get one of the steam sauna tents. I've got links to both of them in the description if you want to check it out. If you want different recommendations, email me. I'll let you know. It doesn't matter. Just get it in your life. Get some kettlebell training happening in your life. Do swings and Turkish get-ups. If you can't learn anything else, learn swings, Turkish get-ups, and presses. That those movements alone will start to heal the body dramatically. And the meditation. I mean, it's just the practice is doing it, and Jerry's a living example. I mean, he's so.
I'm still living. That's good.
Right. Still living. Well, I mean, you would say that in the past couple of years, the quality of your life has changed. Yes?
Oh yeah. Well, and I kind of forgot that this all kind of happened when my mom passed away. I went kind of into like a dark hole. I'm sure anybody that's experienced losing a parent, especially one that you have daily conversations with, really opens up a big negative hole for you. And a lot of that of your routine is, and the ability to care for somebody and the rewards of a parent. There's always the other part of it too, but you kind of work past that. So I was kind of in a dark spot when this whole thing started. And it all started with watching a video about making fertilizer yourself. I'm like, I need to do that. And then I came across the traveling thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm reliving all these great. I was just in love with that. I thought, oh man, this guy, who's this guy, right? So it's been a good journey, and I think what helps a lot is to have that kind of mentor show up, and through the internet you can do that, right?
Yeah.
And so checking in, getting rejuvenated, finding connections, because there's not a lot of people in my neighborhood that
no, we're in the beating heart of rural Indiana.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of people doing this,
right? And years ago I had a friend who posted something about building with the straw bale, and so I went over there and visited with him, and we became good friends. And so you got to seek out people that inspire you. He ended up eventually moving to Nova Scotia and has a solar business up there. They live on an island with no power. Just kept climbing the ladder of self-sufficiency, I guess you'd say. So, and then he moved away. Well, that kind of left me vacant again, so you can't do it on your own. So I really recommend staying with the channel, the group, and building it that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we've got just a couple minutes left, Jerry. Is there anything, is there some parting words you could give to people, or does anyone have any burning questions or anything? There's some parting advice or anything you want to say? Because you're typically in the comments of all the things, but now you're on the other side of it.
Yeah. So
it's different.
Well, I appreciate we're getting some new customers through this channel and stuff like that. Miss T and Rick, and I appreciate your ability to go out of your way, and I think you'll find the rewards in the meat satisfying. I don't know if that's the right way to say that or not, but
absolutely, yeah. Remember, guys, this is Jerry, the beef farmer, and so he's very consciously raised beef, grass-fed, grass-finished. They're just and the happy cows out on this land here, and he's the one that we made the big aerator for the compost tea. We're going to be experimenting with that more this upcoming year and stuff. And so really, it can't hardly, I mean, I've never found more consciously raised beef than this. And so we're picking up a whole beef. That's part of what we're doing here. So if you're anywhere within the 3 or 4 hour drive of Indianapolis, it's well worth it to hit up Jerry. Now, he doesn't have a big operation, so you have to get like on a list, but hit him up, email him. Where can they find you? Bates Family Farm at Yahoo.
Yeah, there you go.
I already had it on deck.
My wife handles all that part. So, we put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
We try to do a good job.
Also, he's got an Instagram account, Phony Farm.
Yep.
Right?
PHONI FARM.
PHONI FARM. I follow him, so you can go to the people I follow. And it's not all just about cattle farming. It's about his life as a rancher and a father and things. So interesting. I like it. I learn from his posts. So give them a follow.
I like to do it because it forces me to relook at things, like to stop and listen to a bird that I just be walking by, or what are these mushrooms growing out of that cow patty over here, or whatever. It makes me relook at things in order to post it, and I hope people do get something out of it. It's just a sense of peace, if nothing else, which is kind of hard to find anymore. I'll get myself all wrapped up in politics or whatever, and I'll walk out the door and let it all go away. And a lot of people can't just walk out to 20 acres of woods and cows and life forms and problems sometimes.
Right. Situations.
Right. But, so I try to share that through my channel a bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it comes across well. It does. So, yes, Aaron, you can only buy half or wholes. Yes, and he does not ship. You have to come get it. So, let's see here.
Well, Brian says, how do you heat your home?
Oh.
We have two ways to heat it. One is in the floor hot water heating in a concrete slab. Love that because it turns concrete into butter. You can't believe how nice it is to walk on concrete in the winter with your socks on. If you've ever been in a cold garage floor, you can't get enough insulation between you. But that makes all the difference, and it just kind of coasts. And then we also have a wood burner for most of the year.
Check that thing out.
There it is.
What is the story on that again?
My brother-in-law's dad made that down. He had it in a shop in Kentucky. So it's all home welded up, and
it's amazing. And he's got one of them fans that kind of help to blow it a little bit.
Yeah. So we gave him $100 for it 15 years ago, and it's paid for itself.
Oh yeah, way paid for itself. That thing, I was here in the cold time, and it cranks. You get it going, and
yeah. Sometimes they get too much heat upstairs, but that's okay problem. And we always worry about the power going out. We're like the last Indianapolis power and light pole that they have. So if something goes wrong in between us and Indianapolis, well, we're going to be feeling it. So we can do that. We can cook on it if we have to, and we got plenty of wood around to feed it, and that's a big difference too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, plenty of wood. That's one thing we came down here. If you guys follow my Instagram, you see I just posted a video of us inoculating logs with shiitake mushrooms and lion's mane mushrooms. So and then there will be a full tutorial coming on that pretty soon, but really cool thing. He's already got some that he did like 2 years ago, and they fruited this year. And so once you inoculate these logs, you're good for several years. They will keep fruiting in the fall and in the spring. Yeah, so it's a wonderful thing. So, okay, guys, well, we got to pick up the beef from the farmers or from the butcher now. And so it's been real. And Jerry, I want to thank you very much for being a part of this and for all the contributions that you make to this and the tribe and everything, and the knowledge and the friendship. So my pleasure. So hopefully we'll see some of you guys on here sometime. Definitely, yeah. I'm way open to interviewing more people and stuff like that, even if it has to be virtually. We can do split screen, kind of like I did on Enoch's channel. So we can do that same kind of thing. So if you feel like you got something you want to say to the tribe, and you feel confident enough, and you've got like a microphone and a video thing to where it's decent enough quality, let me know. Send me an email, and we could make it happen. Just virtually. So, all right, guys. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say.